Elimination Chamber qualifying matches are underway, and one in particular is on my radar as questionable. The inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion Lyra Valkyria had a match on the 4th episode of Raw with former incredible flailing arm two-man ambassador Bayley that wasn't on the plus side of either's capabilities, and Lyra lost clean. Now, the issue isn't at all that she lost to BBL Bayley. The issue is Lyra has been the first ever Women's Intercontinental Champion since January 13th, 2025, and since then has yet to defend it, but has endured a clean loss. I feel as if not enough people are pointing out the enormous flaw in this storytelling logic. This has been an odd storytelling choice going on in the WWE for as long as I can remember, but it is especially perplexing when dealing with new belts. Champions should not lose in non-title matches ever. To say the luster of Lyra being the IC champ hasn't worn off since the 13th of January is classic simp denial. Bird Lady is going to her next match at 0-1 as the champ. I'm open to any counterpoint as to why this should make any type of sense to me, but while I wait for the argument, I'll continue. Having Bayley in the chamber is just fine, in fact, great. However, she could have faced a number of women besides the Bird Lady. How about we just implement a rule that champions cannot participate in such qualifiers? It would stop predictability in a sense and add more prestige to the belts in general. In this case, before she even had the match with Bayley, it is beyond obvious that Lyra wasn't going to the chamber. Certainly wasn't going to go for any other title. I thought these new titles were going to be distinguished by competitiveness, but it's like they're just here to be placeholders for something else or someone else. Speaking of someone else, we have fucking Dakota Kai defeat Ivy Nile to be the #1 contender for Lyra. Why? You know, I'll say it again. I really thought these titles were going to showcase elite women's wrestling, and under Triple H, some great storytelling would permeate. Look, Dakota Kai is one I favor. Obviously, she is talented, she obviously has looks, and she goes hard in the paint. This chick is always destroying her body in the ring for our entertainment. Still, she was just in a fucking tournament. A tournament that granted her the opportunity to be the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion. She made it to the finals and lost to Lyra Valkyria. Lyra goes on to lose to BBL Bayley in a non-title match clean. And the next week, Dakota is in the #1 contender spot for beating Ivy Nile. Dude, if anyone out there is bitching about how not using the women right now and giving promo time over their matches, I gotta say I'd rather have that than this abysmal attempt at telling any type of story that makes any type of sense.
Off is the direction you can fuck.
SmackDown is somewhat of a chore to get through, even though the show is loaded with top talent. On top of that, I'm not following the logic. 3 hours is far too long for this show. The promos tend to drag. Last week, The Miz and LA Knight had me walk away from the screen. Last week's promo with them was just too long, and a too long segment in pro wrestling makes for awkward. The Miz, in my opinion, has no business in a heavy storyline in 2025. This week, their stuff was a tad better, but maybe that's because I'm big on Carmelo. I get Miz is working with Melo to build him, but Miz should not be in a winning tag team in 2025. To me, that's crazy. LA Knight and Carmelo do not need R-Truth or Miz. Yes, R-Truth is funny, but it's not enough to carry this for me. I don't understand the Naomi and Bianca arc. It makes no sense whatsoever for Naomi to care at all about who attacked Jade Cargill, unless it was her being the attacker. To make a tag team rivalry out of this to switch the belts isn't adding up either. I don't understand why Bianca and Naomi would be so gullible with this footage of Liv and Raquel walking by the ambulance. It doesn't make sense for Bianca to be the attacker either, at least not yet. If Bianca came out and said,
"Yeah, I was the attacker because you dragged me down from where I was, and I never wanted to be your partner. I was told to carry you.
It would make sense. Bianca has just been waiting about with Naomi, carrying these completely unnecessary and undefended tag titles. She has never recovered since her 26-second loss to Becky Lynch, which was also unnecessary. I am so frustrated with her partner being this walking box of crayons. It's been this goofy shit her entire singles career. The music sucks, the outfits suck, and her current position sucks. If Naomi didn't attack Jade, then she is in a worse position than Bianca. But these two ladies are shoved down our throats every weekend with no progression at all as a tag team. The women's tag team division is forced. Raquel and Liv are a forced tag team, just like Bianca and Naomi. The only other team is Shayna and Zoe, and you just got rid of their manager or third teammate in Sonya Deville. And Zoe is out here wrestling on X. I know nobody wants to hear it, but Pure Fusion is the best women's tag team in the WWE. We don't have much to compare them to though, since there are only 3 in the entire company, which leads to another very, very stupid decision that WWE continues to make.
You eat a cheese stick, a string cheese, like this? You're a sociopath. You're borderline a serial killer. You are a serial killer, actually.
Champions losing on TV in non-title matches. Just like Lyra Valkyria, Chelsea Green loses clean in an Elimination Chamber qualifier. Why? Naomi could have had a match with so many other women to qualify into the chamber. Even Piper or B-Fab or Michin, which by the way, Michin blocked me because she's soft as and can't even take even the gentlest of criticisms. Anyway, to continue the stupid and uninteresting and pointless and poorly executed story arc of Chelsea and Michin, Chelsea could have caused B-Fab or Michin to lose. And their story, as much as I'm over it, would continue. They could have had a match on the chamber to close it off, or the Friday after, or even drag this dumb to WrestleMania if you really believe Michin, B-Fab, and Chelsea Green are worth that long of a story over this title. I would have hated all of that as well, but it's better than having Chelsea Green go out there as the champion, only to show her ass cheeks and lose a match, but still keep the title. I think the champions of any sort shouldn't be in qualifier matches for Elimination Chamber or King/Queen of the Ring and other sorts of matches of this type. They should be opportunities for competitors that are not carrying gold, which only emphasizes my reason to get rid of the women's tag titles. Liv and Raquel are gonna get the belts. Then what? Another year of a forced tag team carrying them about while consistently competing in singles competition. You know? The Our inaugural Women's United States and Intercontinental Champions are already a bust. They are losers. They both have lost clean on television but are still champs. If it's just about hot girls, why even introduce the belts? Get rid of women's tag team titles. Stop having champions lose non-title matches. Jade's attacker story, also a bust. If it's Naomi, it makes no sense. Her and Bianca have done nothing as champions. What's her motivation for trying to usurp Jade's position? If it's Bianca, it makes no sense. Because if she's gonna bitch about Jade dragging her down, well, isn't Naomi doing the same thing? Bianca has done nothing but still have a tag team partner throughout all of it. This chick is making 2 to 3 women's outfits each week instead of defending the title. If it were to be Liv and Raquel, it makes no sense. Raquel came back at Bad Blood in October, in story with Liv and Rhea. Jade was written off air November 22nd. Look back at that timeline and tell me where it adds up. In my opinion, it should have been Charlotte that attacked Jade. That feels more like a torch passing than Charlotte and Tiffany. Which, by the way, there is no way WWE has Charlotte go over on Tiffany. Right? All that build up with Tiffany from NXT to now, signing with Paradigm Talent Agency, turning on Nia, heel Nia, which, by the way, Tiffany is the face now for doing what? She is the one that did the dastardly deed and comes out as the face? Tiffany stabbed her best friend in the back, clocked her with the Money in the Bank briefcase while she was in a match about to squash a bitch. That's a face move now? You remember when Ronda turned on Shayna, y'all didn't like that, but when Tiffany turns on Nia, we cheerlead. After it happened, the internet had a jizz fest over the idea of Tiffany and Charlotte at Mania. I said it makes no sense if Charlotte comes back to take on Tiffany for the belt for this very reason. Backstabber Tiffany gets forced into being a face because nobody expected to cheer for Charlotte for her return. Certainly didn't expect her to win the Royal Rumble. What's even weirder is how she came on Raw to glaze the fans. Again, something she has never done. What if it worked? And the crowd cheered her. Two faces? It's a mess. Charlotte can't touch Tiffany's natural athleticism. This should be something like Bianca and Tiffany, Naomi and Tiffany, Shayna and Tiffany, Zoe Starks and Tiffany, Piper and Tiffany. I know some don't like that take or some of the names that I put out, but it can't just be Nia Jax. You can't just revisit this week after week after week and have Tiffany wrestle in non-title matches until there is a PLE. Tiffany, the pretty girl, should be getting heat from the females that do not present like her. That's how her being a face works. That's why the dynamic between her and Nia Jax works, and also the natural chemistry they have. We should be building her. Don't just give her the belt to lose to Charlotte Flair. Tiffany should be taking on all comers and hold the belt all year, but she should drop the Tiffy time shit and be a heel. But if she's gonna be a face, she should be a workhorse because she can do that. She is indeed
the total package.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
She's so shocked! Total surprise.
Surprise.
Got her.
This week's episode saw Tiffany in ring against Candice LeRae. Now, Candice continues to be pushed as some kind of supplemental factor to Nia's presence, but for me it isn't effective. At least Strat wrestled and won, but of course in a non-title match. But what the does Trish Stratus have to do with anything at all with Tiffany, Nia, or Candice? WWE has nobody that Strat can have a singles match against at the Chamber outside of Nia? If we're going to continue Tiffany-Nia rivalry, we gotta get it right, and this is not right. I truly believe this process needs to be overhauled. An idea that could work is maybe have the Royal Rumble winner not announce who they pick until after the Elimination Chamber, right? Elimination Chamber winners get the champions that Rumble winners do not choose. That way there is some attempt at unpredictability, meaning who the believed that Candice LeRae was going to beat Tiffany Stratton, even in a non-title match, even with Nia and Charlotte ringside. Nia can handle Stratton on her own. If you don't have anything for Candice, then just admit it. Or if you don't want to place her somewhere and keep her at the station she's currently given, just admit it. And to catering she goes until something comes along. Personally, I believe Candice is a good candidate to go at Chelsea Green for the title. But 6 weeks removed from her becoming the inaugural champion, she is still beefing with the worst twerker in the business in a tag team format, which is exactly what Candice is doing for the Chamber. Forced tag teams. Trish has no business out there whatsoever. Tiffany doesn't need her. She's 20 times the athlete. And Trish, her interference couldn't be any more random. You could put Doink the fucking clown to come out there and help Tiffany, and it would make more sense than Trish Stratus. Probably wouldn't. Still fucking hilarious. Nia Jax should be the face right now. She is the one that got stabbed in the back. Why are we cheering Backstabber Tiffany? Why? I have said from day one Stratton should be a heel, Charlotte should be doing with Jade, but my guess is Charlotte sees her as nothing and wants the belt. And Jade probably still can't wrestle with all this time off even to train. Nia and Tiffany should be in a heated ass beef by themselves. This is why waiting until after the Chamber or something like 4 weeks out from Mania, right? The champions are locked and do not compete in the 4 weeks of build-up. Just promote the match itself. How much more significant would these stories and belts mean if it were built that way? And as I'm wrapping this up, as this comes to me right now, I swear if this becomes a triple threat with Nia, Strat, and Charlotte, so Charlotte can lose with a crutch.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfucker.